The Broncos benefited in Week 2 from a blown Ed Hockley call, but will they need something like that or any type of lucky break to beat the Saints? We'll find out. Jason Horowitz, Charley, Casserly from CBS Sports, glad to be with you on the NFL previews presented by Comcast and Charley. Let's start with the carryover effect from last week. Beating the Chargers by a point, going for 2 with 24 seconds, getting it. What is that effect, that lingering effect to this week?
I think it's huge. Here's why. It's a confidence factor. You're 2-0. You come into the year, you got a young quarterback, you're counting on some young players, you're out of the playoffs last year, and now you got 2 big wins to start the season. Confidence in your offense, especially right now, I think that's huge for the Denver Broncos.
And 2 big division wins as well, which could play a huge role later on. You mentioned the quarterback. Jay Cutler has been phenomenal. Is he becoming and showing signs of an elite quarterback in this league?
Well, we're going to see the graphic here. I think he's heading that way. You can see right now 70%. Completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. What the best thing about him is his arm strength and his ability to stretch the field and make all the throws.
Well, he also has great receivers as well, and he showed those weapons last week. Brandon Marshall had 18 catches, 2 off tying the NFL record for most in one game. Eddie Royal followed up with another solid performance. Found his tight end as well. Is this the biggest mismatch in this football game? The Denver weapons on the outside and Scheffler against the secondary of the New Orleans Saints?
Absolutely, because New Orleans secondary was going to be suspect going into the season, and now you've got some injuries there. Certainly they are. So Denver, and the thing what Denver can do is this. Denver can give you the play action. They can give you the bootleg. They can get Cutler outside the pocket. So what that does is that makes the quarterback a moving target for your pass rush, and that causes even more problems for the New Orleans Saints.
And that secondary and that defense gave up more than 300 yards passing to Jason Campbell last week, and that long pass to Santana Moss, which won the game on a 1-play drive. Meanwhile, the offense was not as good in Week 2 as it was in Week 1. Washington's defense may be better than Tampa Bay, but how much of that is the Marcus Colston effect, the fact that he's not playing?
Well, I think it's probably a certain percentage of both. Washington's defense is a better defense than the Denver Bronco defense. Denver hadn't stopped anybody all year right now in their first 2 games, in my opinion. However, Marcus Colston, you take a step down when you have to put, say, David Patton in the football game and play him more at that point in time. But Drew Brees is an effective passer. So I think they will be able to move the ball. They are going to be able to score more points. You got to get Shockey involved in that offense.
What about Reggie Bush? Because he's getting the touches. He's had about 40 touches so far just from offensive plays. That's about 20 a game. Is that enough for the Saints to be successful offensively?
No, I don't think so. I think what you have to do, and we see is the graphic with Reggie Bush, you can see a pattern here. You don't see a high rushing average there, a little over 3 yards a carry, but you do see much better this year than in the first 2 years on his receptions. He's over 10 yards a carry right there. He's about 15, or in fact he is 15 at that point in time. But anyway, the running game, you got to have balance. You got to have the inside pounder. Now Deuce McAllister keeps saying he's ready to play. Pierre Thomas had a good first game, didn't do much last week against a better defense. This is a Denver defense you can run on. You got to get some inside running and then use Reggie Bush as your specialty player, and then you have your chance to throw off Drew Brees at that point in time. Inside running is going to be important here for the Denver Broncos in this game.
I think
for the New Orleans Saints.
For the New Orleans Saints, I think we're all expecting a high-scoring game in this one. Let's take a look at the AccuScore Prediction. 10,000 tests, 10,000 results. And I was surprised by this, Charlie, when I saw it. 71% of the time on the computer, the Broncos came out victorious. That was surprising to me because New Orleans is not a bad football team.
No, they really aren't. And they could have easily beaten the Redskins last week.
Maybe they should have beaten the Redskins.
Right, they had the lead in the fourth quarter last week. So the New Orleans Saints, to me, are a mentally tough football team. And Sean Payton, the head coach, has a lot to do with that, and their quarterback, Drew Brees, has a lot to do with that. They're going into a very difficult place to play against a hot football team. I like the Denver Broncos at this point because I think their passing offense will score more points than the New Orleans Saints' passing offense in this football game.
But a close game.
I think closer than 71 to 29 on that one. Of course, they're not predicting the score.
No, of course, but percentage of how many times they win also indicates how much they think the difference between the Broncos and the Saints, and I'm not sure I agree with that part. But anyway, 4:05 p.m. Eastern start. For more on this game or any other in Week 3, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. Watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For Charley Casserly, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.